There was a small village nestled among the hills where mornings arrived with birdsong and evenings descended wrapped in layers of mist. Not many people knew the name of the village, but those who did knew this much. There was a quiet strength in its air. It was in this village that a young man named Akash lived. Akash was truly brilliant. From a very young age, his eyes carried an unusual curiosity. Why the sky was blue, why the mountains stood still, why human beings suffered. He was the best student in the village, and his teachers often said, "This boy will go far in life." But the mental strength required to walk that long road had not yet developed within him. He had one major problem, and it was a serious one. He broke down at the slightest adversity. At every small difficulty, he blamed fate. If he scored 1 mark less in an exam, he would say, "My luck is bad." If someone spoke harshly to him, he would say, "The whole world is against me." If an obstacle appeared in his path, it felt to him like an impossible mountain. He gave up even before trying. Words like these were often heard from his mouth. "I can't do it. Everyone else can, but I can't. My destiny is just like this." The one who was hurt the most by this was his grandfather. Akash's grandfather was one of the oldest people in the village. Age had bent his back slightly, but his eyes held deep calm and wisdom. He didn't speak much, but when he did, his words went straight to the heart. One day, the grandfather noticed Akash sitting in a corner of the house, once again broken by some small failure. He said nothing at first, then he gently said, "Come with me." Akash felt a bit irritated, but he could never refuse his grandfather. They walked together and stopped beside a small well near the village. The water in the well was clear, but the quantity was very limited. The grandfather took a handful of salt from his pocket. Akash looked at him in surprise. Calmly, the grandfather said, "Put this salt into the well." Akash did so. "Now drink the water," the grandfather said. As soon as Akash took a sip, his face twisted. "Ugh, it's so bitter, this is undrinkable." He immediately spat the water out. The grandfather said nothing. He simply smiled softly. Then he said, "Now come, let's go somewhere else." They walked on until they reached the mouth of a vast sea flowing past the foothills of the mountains. Water stretched endlessly in every direction. The sound of the waves felt as if nature itself was speaking. Once again, the grandfather took the same handful of salt and threw it into the sea. Then he said, "Now drink the water." Akash hesitated slightly, but then drank. After a few sips, he looked surprised and said, "Grandfather, there's no bitter taste at all. It's nothing like before." The grandfather then looked at Akash. This time, his eyes held a blend of firmness and affection. He said, "Look, Akash, this salt is like the problems of life. Sorrow, failure, pain. These things never completely disappear from life. But how bitter they feel depends on the size of the vessel that holds them." Pointing toward the well, he continued, "If your mind is as small as this well, even a little sorrow will poison your entire life." Then pointing toward the vast sea, he said, "But if you can become as vast as the sea, patient and deep, then even great problems will not be able to harm you much." These words struck Akash's heart like a bolt of lightning. He realized that problems were not his alone. The real problem was his attitude, his perspective. From that day onward, Akash began to change. He decided he would stop blaming fate. He would not run away from failure. He would make his mind bigger. If he performed poorly in an exam, he asked himself, "Where did I go wrong?" If someone spoke harshly to him, he thought, "Why should I take every word to heart?" Slowly, he learned patience. Instead of running away from pain, he learned to face it. Time passed. Akash truly went far in life, but not just in terms of success. He went far by becoming a mentally strong human being. And whenever difficult times came, he would close his eyes and see a small well and a vast sea. And he would say to himself, "I will not be a well, I will be the sea."